Hey, BassGeek here. Put down your deep diving crankbaits because I'm about to show you something new. Now, geeks, I have been deep cranking for a very long time. I mean, hot lips, DD22s, not DTs, that's a big difference. And learning how to get those things down a lot deeper than they're willing to run. It's kind of an art from where I'm from. But when you get out there on those points, on those humps, on those deep ledges, and you see those dots spread along the bottom. Now, we've talked a ton about suspended bass, and you geeks know before forward-facing sonar even come out that those suspended bass would and do eat. But that's a different video. When they're on the bottom, especially early on in June and July, there is no better way than to get that school fired up than with a deep diving crankbait. So geeks, it seems like the crank and bite just really gets shorter and shorter. Doesn't last into the summer the way it used to. And why is that? Well, because those bass are getting used to seeing all these crankbaits come by at 100 miles an hour or counting rocks. Either or, they're getting used to seeing all those crankbaits that we've been throwing for years. So what do? You show them something new. So I want to introduce you to Cornerstone Baits. Now, I've showed you these baits before. You've seen me talk about them here and there. But what I really want to talk to you about is how well designed they are. So if you go way back, maybe a year, 2 years ago, I did an unboxing and had some of these in them. And so I've been fishing them now for a little while. And I have to say, these are some of the most well-designed baits that I think you can find. This is one that I've used a little bit and I've lost the box for, so I don't remember the color. I want to call this a green gizzard shad, but this bait alone tells you. You've got owner split rings, owner hooks, you've got an incredible paint job, and you've got raised gill plates. This is top-notch stuff. Now, I talked to the owner a little while back. This is a Japan quality crankbait. That is what he wanted to go for. You don't have to buy them. This is something that I love. Everyone's seen my rant about having to buy hooks or, upgrading hooks. Just put them on there, guys. Just put the good stuff on there so we don't have to go buy them. And, that's really kind of what a lot of these bigger companies do is they put crappy hooks on. But what you don't know is they also own the hook company that they want you to go buy the hooks from to replace the hooks that you're paying for that they come with. So this, you don't have to do that. And I'm going to show you a couple of the ones that I've got, a couple of the deep divers that I got. I'm going to show you my favorite. I'm going to show you how to fish a deep diving crankbait. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips to catch you more fish on. By the way, these are the DP21, so they dive about 17 to 21. If you put them on a little lighter, that's 12-pound test that you'll get them to about 20, 21. They'll dive deeper than that if you're like me and you're crazy and you're willing to put them on, say 10 or even 8-pound test. You want to talk about top-notch paint jobs. Right here is a great example of that. This is called Pearl Gilly. And what's really great about that is even the detail right to the orange on the throat. Again, another example of an incredible color. This is Ghost AU. By the way, if you buy these baits and you put them in a box, you don't remember how deep they dive, well, it's printed right here. Everybody's got to have a little bit of chartreuse in their life, and this is Table Rock. Love that purple back. And my favorite color of a crankbait, pretty much anywhere you go, and that is Tennessee shad. I even love the fact that they put the red throat on the Tennessee shad. Like I said, I'm a little crazy. You can see I'm gonna throw 10-pound fluorocarbon now. It's gonna be K9 Pro 100 fluorocarbon at all times. Check out K9, guys. We got a 10% off code. Trust me, try this. Now remember, if it says fluoro, it is a copolymer. Pro 100 is the 100% fluorocarbon. Go try it, guys. Best braid on the market. I say it all the time, best braid on the market. This is a 7.6 heavy, but it does have a moderate action. This is a Resolve, and it can handle a 1/2 ounce all the way up to 1.5 ounces. I don't know what these weigh, but it throws it very nicely. This is Resolve Bass by TFO, my favorite rods. And of course, this is the new BB1 Pro, the new version. And I'm throwing that in a 6-2-1. Now, I will tell you, a lot of guys are going to talk about throwing a 7, this, that, or the other. Listen, guys, I'm old. I got bad shoulders. I got bad elbows. A 6.5 is about as fast as I'm going on anything that's diving 21 feet. Now, cranking, you do need to be hitting bottom, but a lot of times you can be breaking free from bottom. Now, what do I mean by that? It means that sometimes you want to throw it up in the dirt, dredge that bottom, and then as it drops off, have that crankbait break free, pause it for just a minute. You can even give it a couple of twitches like a jerk bait, and then go ahead and start cranking again just as fast as you can crank it. Believe it or not, a lot of times, especially where I live with these steeper banks, that is a great way to do things. Some of the places that I love to fish is going to be points. Points and humps are almost always at the end of some point. So they tend to be elongated. So I like to hit those things from several different directions when I'm cranking, and I want to hit them from different depths. I want to grind it on top all the way back to where that crankbait is darting and diving. And anytime it hits something, I want to give it just a stop. You know, let it come across, hit it, deflect, and then stop and float up, and then dive right back down again. Stop and go is your basic go-to retrieve. It just works. It's just how it is. Now, sometimes you can grind them and get bites, but most of the time during the summer, I'm looking to get them fired up. Even if I don't catch them on a crankbait, I'm looking to get them fired up by dragging that crankbait through there as fast as I can drag it and get them in the mood to start biting. I may follow up with something else. So it is true that you always want to fish a crankbait that is going to run slightly deeper than the bottom that you're fishing. So this one right here, on 10-pound test, I can get it down to 20 feet, and I'm going to fish it at about that depth. A long rod is important. Being able to use your thumb, a long cast is important with a deep diving crankbait, because you have to get it down there and keep it down there in that strike zone for a long time. So the longest cast possible is what you need to work on getting. That is one of the biggest tips I can give you. You've got to make an extremely long cast. So I'm going to show you, we're going to crank the side of this point. There's a little bit of grass and some bass hanging down off of it. So we're going to come up here, we're going to throw up on top of it. We're going to hit the top, we're going to grind down, it's going to break free, we're going to stop, we're going to give it a little twitch, and we're going to go. See if we can catch one here real quick. If not, I'll show you this retrieve. Hopefully it'll help you guys catch some bass out there. Now, if you're on the ledge, you just want to get this thing down to the bottom and just grind the bill off. If you're out on like the Tennessee River, you're going to grind the bill off this thing. Now, you can bring it off the ledge, but that's sort of goes back to what we was talking about cranking bluegill beds. And what you want is to make sure that you have something that is going to dive, and as it comes over that edge, it is going to dive just a touch and break free. That's when any bass that are down below that ledge are going to come up and just whack it. So it's going to create a reaction bite for them. Now, something I like to do that will get me a little more depth is I like to stick my rod tip in the water, get it down there a little bit more. You've heard of kneel and reel. I'm not necessarily going to go that far to kneeling and reeling, but I will stick my rod tip in the water to get it down just a little bit deeper. Now, as far as hook set goes, it's going to be a side set. You want to side set, keep that rod tip down next to or into the water, and you just want to reel. Make sure your drag's set good, because these fish are going to fight. They're going to fight a little bit harder because they're a little bit deeper. Go ahead and bring them in. You've got treble hooks. If you got a buddy, get that net in. If not, be very careful when you're trying, because these hooks are amazing on this. They're super, super sticky. Lip them, get them in the boat, be super careful. Don't end up in the hospital or with a hook somewhere you don't want it, if you know what I'm saying. But that's pretty much it, geeks. That's the best way I can tell you to fish a crankbait, especially a deep one. All right, questions, comments in the comment section below. You geeks know I love to talk about fishing with you. Hey, if you got any tips for fishing deep crankbaits for me, that maybe I didn't put in here, share it with all the geeks. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you get the notifications when these videos come out. And as always, you geeks rock.